Alrighty, hey Will, it's about time we get this party started, man. So I'm gonna kick off this video. We're starting with Digital Transition 2. We need to get this done before winter. I'm sure you already understand, but if we push this stuff off and kind of try and overthink it and really, we've practiced our due diligence. We know what we're doing. We need to start making some moves, otherwise we're going to stress ourselves out. And as that starts to push through fall and into winter, it's just not going to be feasible. It's not going to be a good idea to rip this all up root and stem in the middle of winter when both you and I have got our facial hair grown out and we're pulling our head hairs out and losing our minds. We don't want to be doing that. We want to be back onto getting down into here, back onto Facebook and AdWords and setting up SEO and stuff. We want to be sitting pretty, working on comfortable projects during the winter time. That way we're not pulling our hair out and we can just relax. So we definitely don't want to be doing any of this stuff during the winter. Think about it. Carrying digital screens, tech guys carrying stuff around in the winter when there's all the snow and the salt is all over everything and stuff like that. So, and I don't need to, I'm sure you understand that. So, moving on. This isn't going to be a long video. I'm not going to be continually digressing into this type of stuff. This is the type of stuff that we know what we're doing. We've done the research. We need to pull the trigger. So, getting into hardware, digital signage. We're working with the lead company in the nation. They've done stuff for Pizza Hut. They're doing stuff. They've done stuff for the NBA. Their signage is second to none. It looks beautiful. And frankly, the quote that they've given us and the amount of work that the CEO has done with me, I'm hoping we can just pick up where we left off and potentially even get a lower quote. I don't know what they're doing within their company, if they change anything around or not. So I need to touch base with him again. But our quote was at about $5,000. We were okay with this at the time. We wanted to pull the trigger. We were just, we had some front desk stuff going on. We needed some more support there. And then I think, we just kind of got cold feet or whatever the phrase is, and just kind of set back on it a little bit. We need to go ahead and pull the trigger on that and get it done, because it's something that we're very clear on that we want done. We know we want it done. And if we don't get it done, it's going to be very clear why we didn't. So basically what I'm trying to say is there isn't any other way around it. We need to do it. And all of this stuff this is all in order, nice and condensed. Obviously there are a lot more steps that come to it, but what we need to do is take things one at a time. We take things one at a time and we get through the transition easy peasy. So we were at about 5K. We were okay with this. I'll call the CEO. I just need you to give me the A-OK so that we can start doing this stuff. So I'll call the CEO, get back in touch with him. I'll kind of feel it out whether I need to get an updated quote or not. If he was cutting us a good deal, I think, from the beginning, but I'll kind of feel out whether there might be a better deal, if prices have gone down, maybe they've gotten new suppliers or what have you, that lowers prices. So I will touch base with him. He's a pretty nice guy. We did pretty well, so hopefully I can just pick off where we left off so we can get this done. So we're getting two digital signage units, but the content creation side of it are called screens. So we're getting two screens. We've got two screens running at the same time, which is basically all the animation and all the content and graphic voodoo that they do on the back end. So they price things out by screens. What I want to do, and what I mean by static, is we get what we need, the bare bone essentials. We get the menu in there, we get a couple slides, showing DTR, and they're just going to pull stock dog videos chasing frisbees and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I want all of that stuff nice and neutral, and I want to get it down static. I don't want to develop any kind of plans right now for, okay, we're going to do content updates every month or every quarter. I don't want to do any of that right now. I want it to be static. I don't want to have to think about how often we're going to do these campaigns. I just want to let him know that we want to get some basic screens in there that have the menus, that have some digital cutaways showing the dogs chasing frisbees and people bending down and petting their pups and all that stuff, right? I want to get something static that we can just get on the wall and don't have to worry about it for a little bit. And then I'll come back to it and plan a content marketing strategy. How often are we going to be updating things? How are we going to be changing it? So I don't want to get back into all of that stuff right now. What I want to do is I want to pull the trigger. I want to get the screens in the door, and I want to get them on the wall. And I want to get that content into those screens and get it running so we can move on. Okay, because that's just like with anything else. Just like when you guys were starting the business, you ran into this time and time again. It's getting your foot in the door. It's moving forward and doing it and getting it done. People are going to complain. People are going to say, why are we making these changes? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And it's costing money. We're doing it. You know what I mean? This is what we are. We've already been working on this for like 3 years now, and we just can't condone dancing around it anymore. So we need to get it done, because when you boil it down and you're straightforward about it like that, we're talking about walking 2 televisions in through the door, putting them on the wall, and shooting some content to them. It's not complicated. So we need to pull it and get it done. And it's not, you know what I mean? It's not that expensive if we're being honest. So moving on to the next thing. So Mel, I know that she would like to get like little sections up onto the screen where she could change them in real time with different deals and sales. When we were talking about that, we came upon a compromise that she and I both liked, which was to have just a cute little desktop chalkboard. So when she has something that, even if it's in the middle of the day, she just thinks, like if she realizes that we're, I don't know, just as a hypothetical example to draw an illustration, say we've got a surplus of doggy treats or what have you. We run some kind of special where people are checking in with their dogs and saying, hey, would you like to you're going to be gone for 5 days. Would you like these 5 treats? She comes up with that flash sale in the middle of the day. She can whip out the chalkboard, which she has already said is cute, and she likes the idea. Whip out the chalkboard. She could draw something in cursive in the whole dealie and put it on there, and boom, we're done. We don't have to worry about calling up the content guys for the screens and end up having to pay $100 to get something shot out. You know what I mean? So that's what works. Also, all 3 of these points are for flash sales. So anytime Mel comes up with a little deal or anything, we've got some kind of summer thing going on. We've got the desktop chalkboard, and then we've got the email list. So I'm gonna start helping you guys, us, build an email list. That's one of the most important things that you can do overall. And I think that we have some emails. I think we have a bunch of emails, but they're not really put into a list and set up with a whole marketing strategy, and all of that stuff hasn't been ironed out. So there's going to be an email list that we have access to, and we can also push those flash sales to those people. Say if we're doing half off the first day or something like that to ramp up whatever sales. I don't know. But we'll have access to that, is my point. So moving to the third point here is the specials section of the new website. I've showed it to you a couple times. It's the one with the 4 flyers. They're really nice looking flyers, and when you click them, they come up. It's called a light box. A pop-up comes up, and the whole screen fades out, and it's just like the flyer you're looking at. And we can make those up like that. So anytime we've got a flash sale or we're doing half off the first day or anything like that, I can simply make one of those flyers real quick, load it up onto the site, no problem, and get back to what I'm working on. Okay, so this is one thing, and it's not that hard. And really, these 3 points they're not anything. So it's just this. we pay the bill, we get the doors and the screens, we get the doors, we get the screens in the doors, we get them up on the walls, and then we get that content shot out to the screens. And I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, well, it's not quite what I was expecting. But the point is getting it done. Because once we get it done and we get it these static screens, like the bare necessities of what we need out of these screens onto the walls, we don't even have to worry about it being pretty right now. Just get it up on the wall and we can make it pretty later. So, you know what I mean? It's going to be pretty because, like I said, these are the lead screen guys, content guys in the nation, doing stuff for NBA, doing stuff for Pizza Hut. I've showed it to you guys, and we've looked at several vendors. These guys are the best. So I'm sure that what we get out of the gate is going to be very visually appealing. It's going to be cutting edge. That's what these guys do. That's where they're at in their market. They are the cutting edge guys. So what we're going to get, but even if it's not what everybody dreamed and hoped and, what they've been sleeping on for the last 3 years, the point is getting it in the door and getting it on the wall and then getting that content shot to the screens. And then, okay, now it's done. So let's focus first on the digital transition, and then we can come back to each thing and tune it up. So this is the first thing that we really need to get done. And basically what this transition to this presentation is about is itemizing things, getting them in order, and separating them into, get this thing done, get this thing done, get this thing done, and basically setting up an itinerary for actually making this transition happen and boiling it down to its basics. So this is the basics. We pay the bill, we get the screens, we get them on the wall, we get the content shot to the screens, and then we're done. We don't want to get caught in the mix of, well, I kind of wish this had a different font and this had a different, we'll get back to it. And these 3 points these are just points to make. They're not really considerations. So moving on to computers. Computers are going to be the next thing that we do after the digital signage. So I will price out new units. I will pull some new prices on some stuff. We're going to need new monitors, new wireless mice. We're going to need new wireless keyboards, preferably wireless, and mouse pads. We're going to make sure we have good mouse pads. I can't remember if people are even using mouse pads at the front desk. They might just be using the desk. You know what I mean? We got to have some nice big mouse pads. We want the front desk area to be, the point is to suck out some of that stress. That's always, everything that they do up there is above the shoulders. So it's always going to be a bit of a boiling point, but we want to take some of that stress out of there by updating the equipment, making it feel nice and fresh and neat and new. And so that's what we want to do. We got to update our hardware. So the best process for doing that, all of this is supposed to be stress-free. It's a piece of cake, just one thing at a time. Swapping Mellon Choice computers first. So we'll swap them out, and basically I'm going to get a hard drive, like an external hard drive. So I'm probably going to get a Seagate or one of the guys. It's basically just an HD disk where I can copy files over to it, and I can put those files onto the new computers. It's going to be a piece of cake. The digital signage will already be done. We won't be focusing on any of this stuff down here in Digital Transition 3. We're just going to be focusing, I'll be on site to swap out the computers. We're just going to swap Mel's first. There's no danger in that. We're going to swap out Troy's second. There's no danger in that. And then we're going to make sure that we can access K9 and all of the files that we need from Mel and Troy's before we get to yours. And then we're going to do yours. There's no harm in that. We're going to be swapping out the stuff and making sure that you can do everything that you need to do. And then we're going to swap out the front desk on the left side. And then before we move on to the main computers, front desk right and center, before we move on to those, we're going to make sure that everything we need to be able to run front desk operations can be done on the already swapped out units. So Everything that Abby and Mel needs to have access to and be able to do, they're going to be able to do on the front left desk, and they're going to be able to do on Mel and Troy's computers. So we'll have all the time in the world to swap out the front desk center and the front desk right. We'll have days, weeks. They're going to be able to do everything that they need to do from the left computer and Troy's and Mel's and yours. So, you know what I mean? We're going to have plenty of time. That's the idea behind the computer swaps, is to get to a position where we can do one or two at a time, and there's no risk involved. Like, let's say we come up with some technical error that we can't figure out for half a day, and we have to come back the second day and do it on either the front center computer or front right computer. Well, we're not going to have to worry about whether we come up to problems or not, because the front left desk will already be running, and you'll be able to access K9 and get into all the features that you need to get into and be able to do all the things that you need to be able to do, accessing the emails and all that stuff they can do from the front left. People can check in and people can clock in and clock out on Mel's computer or Troy's computer. You know what I mean? Making sure that they can do whatever they need to do while we swap out the last two computers. And so that's a piece of cake. Explaining it now, getting it down on paper, and you listening to it now, that's a piece of cake. That stuff isn't hard. And, you know, this is the point when you want to start playing blocker, because you're going to get some feedback, but I just boiled it down so simply. I mean, the feedback it's just feedback. You know what I mean? So it's going to happen, and we might come up to technical errors, but I just put it out there how we're not going to worry about it. It's not a problem. Moving on to Digital Transition 3, these are previews. So these are previews into stuff that we'll get into later. Let's do these first two things. If you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. Let's get it done. Because as soon as we get it done, we're going to feel a lot better. I think these two things are things that we have put off for so long because it freaks us out. And you know what? If we just get it done, it's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal. It's somewhat costly, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's going to be great once things have changed, and people are going to give you feedback. People are going to say, "Oh, whatever," you know. But we know what we're doing. I mean, especially considering the fact that these types of plans for updating hardware have been in the works for a long time. It's not like we haven't been aware that these changes need to be made, that these updates need to be made. So we're going to get the updates done, and we've got it boiled down as simply as it could be. I mean, there's no problem. So we get these two things done, and then we can move on to Digital Transition 3. So Digital Transition 3, just to give a preview, the first thing on the docket would be new line of business software. So now that we've got the new computers running, and they're fast, and they're connected, and everybody's happy, now we're going to start looking at swapping out K9 and putting in a Ginger or one of their alternatives. You know, we're going to look and see what we can do. You know, worst case scenario, we can't do nothing. You know, but we might as well do all the homework that we can and try and do everything that we can to meet these guys in the middle, because the payoff is massive. Even if it were just like, don't even consider all the extra additional functionality like a mobile app or employee tablets or barcodes or customer programs. Just if the software was more reliable and was easier to use and looked newer and updated, you know, even that is like, again, like I said, we're going to be sucking that stress out of the front desk, and then you're going to get more longevity out of your employees. You know what I mean? Training's going to be easier. It's going to be a breeze once you have fast computers. You've got the digital signage, which makes the lobby look even better, even though it's already beautiful. And then the new software, changing that out from underneath, and it just being a breeze and being able to do all this extra functionality, like being able to check in and check out customers just by swiping a barcode. You know what I mean? So that's the idea. So Ginger alternatives, after we make these changes, after we make the hardware changes, Then we'll get into the software changes. And part of the software changes is looking at the booking platform. So what do we get out of the booking? What can we get out of that? Meeting these guys in the middle, and we decide that the software works for us and everything looks good. Then we take a look at booking and say, okay, well, how does that work for us? How do we integrate it to our website? How does it look? Does it fit our brand? Do we need to make changes to the website in order for it to fully integrate, or what is it that we need to do? You can see why now we're not going to be doing all of this thinking, all of this stuff while doing this hardware at the same time. Because I'm going to have to come out, I'm going to have to be on site and help with this swaps. I want to be there when the screens are getting put up. I want to make sure that, I'm going to call the CEO and say, hey, I'm going to be in the office while we're doing the setups and getting the screens on the wall. I want to make sure that I've got, the numbers for the content guys in case there's problems like the content's not shooting over the internet and making it to our screens. I want to know who to call and what I got to do to get things settled. So once we get this stuff done, that's going to be a huge chip off of our shoulders, man. I'm telling you. And then once we look at this software, including the booking platform, just all of what I've got highlighted right here, this is one thing. New line of business software, the Ginger software to run the business, and the booking platform for the website. Just worry about that stuff right now. We'll do our homework. We'll do our homework on the additional features like the mobile app, the employee tablets, customer barcodes. That stuff we'll have an idea. We'll have planning and ideas and stuff. All I'm saying is we're doing one thing at a time. So we look at the main line of business software. Then we look at the booking platform and make sure everything's going to work for us in a nutshell. Then we look at the additional features. Okay, do we need to purchase tablets for the employees? Do we need to have some kind of barcode scanner? Do we need to have, what do we have to do to have the mobile app set up? Do you offer a mobile, Ginger, do you offer a mobile app that we can use? Or people can pull us up on mobile or what have you. So you can see how all of this is, and I'll have these notes in Slack where I typically put them, but you can see it's in order. The most important thing is the line of business software, then the booking platform, then the additional features. And we'll look at those things all in this bullet point, one thing at a time. And then the last thing we will do is the website. The last thing we're going to do is the website. We're going to be getting into a host. We're going to be moving from GoDaddy to DigitalOcean, because with DigitalOcean, we're going to get a lot more bang for our buck. I'm telling you, much more. GoDaddy is like buying retail. DigitalOcean is like skipping over wholesale and buying from the manufacturer. Okay? I've used DigitalOcean recently, checked out their platforms and everything. I've done all the homework. GoDaddy makes you pay for everything. They want to make you pay $80 for. They want to make you pay $80 a year for an SSL. SSLs are free. They want to make you pay $50 a year for cPanel. cPanel is free, I'm pretty sure. They want to make you pay for emails. Setting up, if you have access to cPanel, emails are free. Why are you trying to charge me for that? They want to charge you for WordPress support. They want to charge you for everything. That's how GoDaddy is. GoDaddy and HostGator are retail guys. They're selling to businesses that are not, they don't have an IT guy on staff, and they're not privy to, their business isn't in an IT related niche. So they are just raking you over the coals. So we're going to be able to get our resources are going to be much better. We're going to get much more bang for our buck out of DigitalOcean. Website's going to be a lot faster. It's going to have just so much more, and we'll get into that when I do the presentation for Digital Transition 3 after we do the hardware updates. It's very important that we bite the bullet on that, because if we just tuck it back into the file cabinet, we're just going to bring it up again a year from now. You know what I mean? So we're at the perfect moment. It's bright and sunny outside, the weather's great. This is a perfect time to screw something into the wall and get it working. You know what I mean? So website hosts, moving from GoDaddy to DigitalOcean. We're going to have a lot more control, a lot more bang for our buck. And then we're going to get into integrating the booking widget. So we're going to get we've already figured out the booking platform and how it's supposed to work with the website and what we need to do on the website end of things to be able to fully integrate. And then we're actually going to integrate. And then we're going to finish the website, put the bow on it, put the cherry on it, and then we're going to migrate. So we're going to migrate and we're going to have the website done. Okay, and then quick little preview. This is hyper condensed digital transitions 4 and 5 preview. So one portion is going to be training. So there's going to be a couple certifications and trainings that I need to get done. Certain things for DigitalOcean. There's going to be things for AWS that's going to cover scale. Might have to look into some applications like Docker. This is just certain stuff that I'm going to need to have some training in, just in case, 12 after the digital transition is done, 12 to 24 months from that time, I might need to be privy to some of these database back-end related server things for scaling. So as we scale, with GoDaddy, you can't scale anything. They want to make you pay for everything. They're going to rake you over the coals for everything. If we move over to DigitalOcean, we're going to be able to scale. As the business grows, we can add more resources and we'll be in 100% control. We're not going to have to, pay for SSL if we're whipping up some other websites to point to ours to create domain authority and all this different stuff I've been talking about for SEO. We're not going to have to be raked over the coals. So some training, we're going to be looking at AWS solutions architecture. That's going to teach me a lot about scaling server resources. I'm potentially going to be looking into programs like Docker, getting a little bit of training done in there. And the good thing about all this IT certification and training stuff is that it's very, very cost effective, and typically it's not like, I think AWS solutions is like 2 days of training and then you take a test, and that's basically it. So then we're going to be looking at some web design training and stuff like that. I've mentioned that before. So the website is going to continually evolve. So we're basically just starting out with something pretty and very functional on a business and IT perspectives, and getting that in the works. It's all about getting it in the door, screwed on the wall. And then we'll come back at it and we'll add to it and get bigger and bigger. And then also probably some certifications like becoming a Google partner, which is going to teach me a lot more about AdWords and some different things like that. So transition 4, we'll be going over training and what kind of stuff I'm going to have to be preoccupied with after these steps in the digital transition are done. And then moving on to digital transition 5, we're going to be making updates to Facebook and AdWords and SEO and how we market. So basically all the technical transition stuff is done. We know what type of training I need to be involved with and to be looking at and to be, getting into. And then basically from there, come winter time, we can just focus on Facebook and we can just focus on AdWords and just focus on training and focus on SEO, as opposed to trying to do all of this stuff in the winter. Even in the fall, it's just going to be stressful. We can't wait any longer. But that's it for this one. There's not anything else that I need to go over. So I'm going to wrap it up on this one, and just let me know how you feel about pulling the trigger. We know exactly where we need to start, and that's with digital signage. Getting it in there and getting it up on the wall. So let me know how you feel, and we'll get it wrapped up and make it happen. All right. Talk to you soon, man.